you'll start getting into shape. I know it. And the same with the relationship. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency, right? You go to the dentist twice a year, your teeth will fall out. You have to brush your teeth every day for 2 minutes. What does brushing your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes do? Nothing. Unless you do it every day, twice a day for 2 minutes, right? It's the consistency. Going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape. Working out every day for 20 minutes gets you into shape. So the problem is we treat leadership with intensity. We have a 2-day offsite, we invite a bunch of speakers, we give everybody a certificate, you're a leader, right? Those things are like going to the dentist. They're very important, they're good for reminding us or getting us back on track, learning new lessons, but it's the daily practice of all the monotonous, little, boring things like brushing your teeth that matter the most. She didn't fall in love with you because you remembered her birthday and bought her flowers on Valentine's Day. She fell in love with you because when you woke up in the morning, you said good morning to her before you checked your phone. She fell in love with you because when you went to the fridge to get yourself a drink, you got her one without even asking. She fell in love with you because when you had an amazing day at work and she came home and she had a terrible day at work, you didn't say, yeah, but let me tell you about my day. You sat and listened to her awful day and you didn't say a thing about your amazing day. This is why she fell in love with you. I can't tell you exactly what day, and it was no particular thing you did. It was the accumulation of all of those little things that she woke up one day and as if she pressed a button, she goes, I love him, right? Leadership is exactly the same. There's no event. There's no thing I can tell you you have to do that your people will trust you. It just doesn't work that way. It's an accumulation of lots and lots of little things that anyone by themselves is innocuous and useless. Literally, pointless by themselves. People will look at little things that are good leadership practices and say, that won't work, and you're absolutely right. But if you do it consistently, and you do it in combination with lots of other little things, like saying good morning to someone, that looking them in the eye. My friend George, who's a 3-star general in the Marine Corps, he says his test for leadership, and I love this, he goes, his test for a good leader is if you ask somebody how their day is going, you actually care about the answer. The number of times we're walking to a meeting, we're rushing, we go, how are you? Not good, I got to get to you later, I'm late for a meeting. Right. If you ask the question, you were standing there and you were listening to the answer. It's those little innocuous things that you do over and over and over and over that people will say, I love my job. Not I like my job. I like my job means, yeah, the challenge is great, they pay me well, I like the people. I love my job means, I don't want to work anywhere else. I don't care how much somebody else is willing to pay me. I'm devoted to people here, and I care desperately. In business, we have colleagues and coworkers. In the military, they have brothers and sisters. That's how they think of each other. If you really have a strong corporate culture, the people will think of each other like brothers and sisters. It's like a family, right? No, brothers and sisters. Deep love. Fight, but the love doesn't go away. Bicker, the love doesn't go away. And I'll fight with my sister, but if you threaten my sister, you're going to have to deal with me, right? We'll fight internally, we'll bicker with each other, but nobody's going to hurt each other. And if anything from the outside shows up, you're looking at a unified front. Brothers and sisters. Now, how do you create brothers and sisters out of strangers? Common beliefs, common values, parents, in other words, executives who care about their children's success, who care to raise their children, teach them skills, discipline them when necessary, help them build their self-confidence so that they can go on and achieve something more than you could have ever imagined achieving for yourself. That's leadership.
Wasn't that a good video? Simon Sinek brings it to the point, and I love the analogy to the teeth brushing. I love the analogy to the military where we have brothers and sisters, and also what is really nice in there that you can't only do certain things and then you'll be a leader. It has to be accumulated and on a regular basis. And this is what I think it's nearly everything in the business environment. You can't finish business. You can't finish leadership. You couldn't be that expert in communication. There's always way to improvement, self-reflection. And when you have this mindset, you will be playing on the long term, and this will also be seen here on the for the colleagues and the employees. And this was a quick overview and quick start in today's topic about management diagnostics. So we heard a little bit about it, what leadership is, what management theories we had. We made a differentiation about management and leadership. And now I would like to go a little bit deeper in the human resource development, because now our task could be who and where can we find the next managers for our company. And therefore, for example, we have here management diagnostic. So diagnostic means we have a certain kind of tool which helps us to identify here the right persons. And the requirement for managers could be that they have a potential. Skills are relevant to the professional environment. Of course, if you are working, for example, in the car manufacturing industry, you need someone with an expertise in this certain area. If you came in the meat industry, then you need something to know about meat. If you're in the IT industry, of course, you should know and have a certain expert level in all of the topics which faces the IT. So potentials, then we have the competences and also the performance. Shows whether the potential and the competence can also be implemented. Very, very important point. Often you have some specialists and some theoretical experts, but can they really bring their own knowledge into practice and make the PS out of it? That means, is it really possible that the knowledge will be transferred into actual revenue, into money? That's what the performance is all about. And these are things what you could measure. So first of all, you could do an inter and extra review. That means in a meeting, for example, you have a junior manager who wants to have more responsibility. Then you can do here some inter and extra review. That means in addition to the knowledge and skills, the person must do also the job well. And therefore, we're making self-reflection. And this self-reflection could be, let's talk about the inter-review. That means, what is your management and expertise? And then I would like to give you my point of view. So that means, what do you think are the intrinsic motivators of you? How resilient are you? It means the inter-review is what you think you could do, in the external review, what can you do for the others. So I would like to skip the soft skills. I also would like to skip this one. So this is the next point I would like to show you, because it's really, really helpful when you're working with teams, with people for the recruiting, etc. And this will help you. It's kind of the team roles from Belbin, but it's a little bit different in the meaning. So let me switch here to the screen share. Then here we go. Now we should see here something. There we go. And I think you should see here also my pointer. Yes. Okay. 16 Personalities is a free-to-use website, and as the name says, we have 16 personalities. That means whenever you're searching a person, then you have to know, what can I do with them, and is it really the perfect fit for my team? So it's so incredible to finally be understood. Only 10 minutes to get a freakishly accurate description of who you are and why you do things the way you do. So maybe you're asking yourself, what is now the main difference about the Belbin team roles and the 16 personalities? The Belbin team models is based on many, many researchers and also has some academic background, also the 16 personalities, but the Belbin team roles costs you something if you want to have here, for example, the whole background information and also the surveys what you can use. The 16 personalities is something you could send a person without any registration, and they will get here an answer right away and could share it. So take the test, for example, and then you will be asked here a few questions. For example, are you regularly making new friends? And all of these questions will be examined in the background, and then you get out, unlike a diagnosis, which personality type you are. And let's see, what do we have here? We have here these 16 personality types. And for example, you will get here an protagonists. And you can see we have here four categories, 4 domains, and each domain has here different focuses. And let's see a little bit more in detail the protagonist. That's the personality. And now you can see here a lot of text. That means a protagonist is a person with an extroverted, intuitive feeling and judging personality traits. And these warm 40 types love helping others, and they tend to have strong ideas and values. They back their perspective with the creative energy to achieve their goals. And then you can see and good visualization. Protagonists are born leaders, which explain why these personalities can be found among many notable politicians, coaches, and teachers. Their passions and charisma allow them to inspire others, and not just their career, but in every arena of their lives, including the relationships. Few things bring protagonists deeper sense of joy and fulfillment than guiding friends and love to grow their best selves. When the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. You can see here a lot of other things. Then you can go here to strengths and weaknesses. I think this is really an important point, because now you can see, what's going on with this protagonist. These are all the positive effects, but what about the weaknesses? Unrealistic, over-idealistic, condescending, intense, overly empathetic. Romantic relationships, also very important. Protagonist wants to fall in love with the content of a person's character and tenor of the soul, not just the way they look from across the room. So what does it mean? It means, how could you set up a team with one in this kind of personality? So let me go a little bit down here. That's friendships. You can see here other text which should help you to understand how this person is really ticking, etc. You get the clue. So with these 16 personalities, you will have here a tool where you can easily jump into a diagnostic and can see, if I have now a junior manager in my management diagnostic meeting, and I see, okay, this person is not really here somewhere as a leader. Maybe he's more an entertainer, an entrepreneur. That doesn't mean that it couldn't be a leader, but it's not the perfect fit for our setting. And therefore you have to think about, now I have someone here with, for example, an architect. What can I do now with them? Can I do really here find a proper fitting as a leader for them, or should we maybe think in another direction? So this is what development makes. You're making an analytical approach where you see, this or that can be done, and then you try to get the best out of it. And you see here on the left side all the overview, all the points, and then you can go to the conclusion, for example, what will help you. Yes, and of course there's some premium version where you can do a lot of more tests, but the first one is really, really easy and open source, free to use, not open source. So, 16 personalities, absolutely gorgeous and awesome tool. So, good. Important point to the 16 personalities. Of course, they will use their output for themselves, but you not really mentioned here any names. That's completely anonym, and therefore it doesn't matter. because you send them a link, you get the result back, and this is all what you want. Completely anonymous. So when it comes to management diagnostic, we also should have here for our company, for our team, because we are in the human resource management, we should have here certain tools where we can have for each person an coverage of areas of competence. That means, for example, we have a spreadsheet with competences with graduation. For example, we have someone, this junior manager, he has can speak 2 languages, he's technical focus, has a project management degree, blah, blah, blah. This will be with a gradation from 1 to 5. And this will help you to see, okay, I have a similar fit here from another department. Maybe we should also consider the second person. And now you can analytically compare those two about the facts. And also with a self-assessment, you could ask the person how they think they fit into the new position or what they think was their performance, etc. And with this reflection development in an appraisal interview, and we'll come to this later on, gives you a good approach how you can do that. An appraisal interview is an setting where you reflect the last 6 months, last year, in a kind of evaluation where you are getting feedback and you giving feedback, for example, to the next supervisor. And often it's linked to management by objectives, because there you will set up the new goals for the next half year or next year, and therefore you also getting maybe a review how you have done the last period. Was it successful? Is there time for improvement, etc.? Leadership levels. It's also a good thing to know that there is not only one mysterious leadership button. We have different kind of leadership levels. For example, professional expertise. That's what typically is the start in a career. You're working and have maybe 2 to 4, 5 people in the team where you're responsible, but you mainly be responsible for professional expertise. For example, you're working in a finance, you're a team leader, and you are responsible for the whole accounting, but also you are responsible for 2 of the others, for example, in your team. The next one is a little bit more mature. That means the core competence of your daily life is leading. Leading your staff, professional competences are in the background. And of course, when you're working, for example, in the facility management, and now you're switching to the IT industry, could it be done that you are now a leader in the IT industry if you have no clue what is going on? Probably. But is it really recommended? I don't think so, because a lot of leadership work is also to dissolve your problems. And one of the things is communication and factual expertise. And when you don't know what they are going to talk about, how should you really help here or support here? And this is not really easy. So therefore, I always recommend that there should be a technical, or there should be a background expertise when they are working or be an S&D. Because I often were in team settings and also team workshops where the team leader were changed, and the team leader comes from an external position, so it is completely new to the staff and completely new to the company, and therefore it's not easy for them to start right away, and therefore we have some team workshops. And one of the first open points were always, is this new leader also competent enough to help us? Does this person really know what our industry needs, what our industry is there for? So I have to go here a little bit up. So, and therefore, this is really needed. Personal development, highest performance of the manager demanding and promoting. This is one leadership level why we are here talking. It's in the human resource development that we are really only focusing on how could we bring the best out of the people. So yesterday I had a lot of sound distraction from the cows living in the farm right beside of me. Today I have a heavy rain. I hope you can't hear it because I have here some windows which windows on the roof, and therefore a lot of noise coming from the rain. So I hope it doesn't distract you too much. So management level. We talked about leadership levels, but there are also management levels. There is a kind of differentiation about it. And also, as we did it before, you could see it here also with the management level. Just hold on. So, yeah, I would like to skip it because we are already dealt with it with the leadership. Therefore, I would like to go also on this slide. So, this one is also not interesting for us, but the appraisal interview is what I would like to focus. So what is an appraisal? As we talked before, it could be a way how we make an evaluation of a person, of an per employee in a setting. And an appraisal interview should be held, for example, every 6 months, every 12 months, every 4 months. This or 3 months. This depends on the time schedule of the whole framework from the company, but it also is a little bit more strategic. How often the overall strategy of the company will be adapted, because these strategies should be break down also to the goals of the employees. And an appraisal interview helps you to evaluate certain things. So for example, if you have to do such appraisal interviews, it's not very common that the human resource development undertake this, but what the human resource development really do is, and they set up those appraisal interviews. So this is the template, and therefore you should also have here a good inside view what it is. So consistently works with order to accomplish goals and tasks. 4 from 5, for example. Treats all the team members in a respectful, courteous manner. Why only 4? Because maybe there was some tension in the team and therefore the 5 couldn't be reached. Actively participates in activities and assigned tasks as required. And so on. You get the clue. And you can see this is the target, and then you could, for example, give you the points 3, 4, etc. It doesn't should just give you a clue how you could perform here. So appraisal interviews with managers could be a little bit different. What do I mean with that? I mean, it's in a more maturity level. That means you also have the focus on what should happen in the next year, for example. So appraisal interview with managers. You have a review. That means, okay, how was it? Is there any open concerns, etc.? Just to be here and make here a sustainable relationship. Then there is a self-assessment. And with the self-assessment, for example, a junior manager in the finance could say, we made a really good closing this last year. We have no really we gotten any problems from the financial authorities, etc. So everything went well, and this is my self-assessment. And then the feedback from the manager could be that, or from the human resource, could be that there were certain things which weren't too fast fulfilled. Therefore, there maybe we should take a closer look on the next quarter. Then you have a prospect, which objectives are relevant for the bonus money, and then you make an individual objective. This will be in a development plan and also in a competence matrix. And this is how you could do it with managers. Appraisal interviews, really necessary. So, but before we go further on, I would like to give you also an explanation. What is an appraisal meeting and how you could be prepared from a view of an employee from a short video clip. And when you're watching this, you will get here tips as a view from an employee. But we now take a closer look on what the person is saying from a point of view of the human resource department.
The appraisal season is just around the corner, but are you prepared for your appraisal discussion yet? Most often, even the thought of appraisal discussion can cause anxiety to many. However, it can be positive and stress-free if you prepare beforehand. Here are a few tips and tricks that will help you prepare and rock this important discussion. Firstly, before you enter the discussion room, make sure you have carried out an honest self-evaluation. Be cognizant of how well you have achieved your previous goals. Take responsibility in case there were any misses. Evaluate your strengths, development areas, and how well you have worked on your past feedback. Since we live in a data-driven world, our next tip for you is to walk into your appraisal discussion with data points. It is impressive if you support your accomplishments with foolproof documents. List your achievements in terms of numbers. This is where you get the opportunity to tell why you deserve a good appraisal with data to support your claim. Ensure you have a meeting objective. It could be about promotions, pay hikes, or new projects. During the meeting, it is natural to have a conversation about your career goals. Have a healthy conversation about your goals with your manager and ask how you can improve. You could also pursue certifications to increase your skill set and let your employer know that you are interested and capable of taking up bigger roles for the team and the business. Note that appraisal discussions are a two-way dialogue. The employers provide their feedback as well. So if you get positive feedback, well and good, pat yourself. This gives you an opportunity to articulate your value and put forward your request. On the other hand, if you get negative feedback, you should calmly ask your manager to explain why they feel so. Do not argue, instead listen and understand how you can improve. Our final tip to you is to walk into that appraisal discussion with a positive mindset. Be confident and have an open mind. Remember, it is in your hands to manage your performance and career development well. Follow these tips to have a more productive appraisal discussion and get the constructive feedback you need for successful.
What do you think? How was this video? I think this video brings it to the point, and although it was of the view from the employees, it will help you to understand what it's really. And when someone is prepared for such an appraisal interview, it will help you tremendously because you can proceed very fast to the point where you can really work. And such appraisal interviews are often held in companies, but the interview template is 5 to 10 years old. No one really cares about this. It's just a meeting where what to have be done. And so it's not really on point who often you don't have the time to prepare in our stressful day. Because if you have a team size from 7 people, that means you have to prepare for 7 1-hour meetings, and this is really hard to do. And also you have then to work afterwards because you have to transcribe here something, you have to formulate objective, and then you have to report it to the next manager. So it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task, but it could be very beneficial when you are really take this serious. So my point of view is take it serious. It's better to take it very, very short and more often than only once a year and then for an hour.